important waste that we need to handle, especially in the agriculture environment. Previously, when we introduced the technology of gasification, we know that we should use some of gasification agent to operate the gasification process. Do you remember the gasification agents that we use in the practice? Air, oxygen, and steam are three major gasification agents that we use in the gasification process. Because oxygen actually is not easy to separate, and in this case, actually, the air and steam are two major gasification agents that we commonly use in this process. In this study, actually, we get the source from another researcher in the international collaboration between National University of Singapore and Shanghai Zheotong University. That is the E2S2 Center. This researcher developed a new technology to use carbon dioxide as a gasification agent. So, why did he choose carbon dioxide as gasification agent in this process? We can use this video to learn more details.
This video introduces lab-scale and pilot-scale CO2 gasification experiment setups. Here is a schematic flow of the lab-scale gasifier. The system mainly includes of the various high-pressure gas cylinders for gas supply, including nitrogen, carbon dioxide, air, and steam, and flow controllers, a downdraft fixed bed gasifier with a surrounding electrical heater and a gas sampling device. Prior to experiment, the feedstock was placed on the supporting bed inside the reactor. The height of the vertical gasifier was 1,100 milliliter, with an inner diameter of 46 milliliter. The temperature of the reactor was controlled through an electrical heater with programs. Tar and other unwanted liquid products could be collected and removed in the cold trap and the washers. In the end, the produced gas could be either directly connected to online measuring instruments such as GC or collected through gas bags. From the lab-scale gasifier, we found that the biochar produced under CO2 conditions have a more moderate pH and a high surface area comparing with normal air gasification, which could be good for plantations. To upgrade the current system, we also investigate on the feasibility of CO2 gasification in a pilot-scale gasifier.
Hello everyone, I'm Shen Ye from Grade E2S2 CSA Group. I'm on the Prof. Shiba. And today what I'm going to introduce you is our CO2 gasification experiment setup. And based on our knowledge of this air gasification for the downdraft fixed bed gasifier with a capacity of 20 kilowatt, we further modify to use a CO2 as a gasifying agent. This is a CO2 cylinder we use for our experiment. The reason that we use CO2 as a gasifying agent is that the biochar produced from CO2 gasification will have a more neutral pH than the normal air gasification. And we all know that in the woody biomass, the main components in the bottom edge includes calcium, potassium, and sodium, these kind of alkaline elements. And this will lead to the pH of the biochar around 10. And in our CO2 gasification experiment, the biochar produced the pH is around 8 to 9. The other advantage of using CO2 as a gasifying agent is that we use a greenhouse gas CO2 as a feedstock to produce useful CO, which can be further used for power generation or chemical production. This is how we link CO2 to our system. This is a hopper we use to store our feedstock. We use it to store mineral solids or woody biomass. And it is a downdraft fixed bed, so the feedstock will enter the reactor here. And the air will be sucking through the gasifier through the fan at the bottom. However, in from the middle of the reactor. So we inject the CO2 from here on top of the gasifier. Because of the sucking effect of the fan at the bottom, the CO2 will go into the reactor, and the reactor together with oxygen and biochar produced in the system to produce CO. The produced oxygen gas will go through a series of units for energy recovery and go through filter to remove the top in the reactor, and then go to the engine for power generation. And the syngas is also measured in this gas as an item to know its chemical composition regarding what is the gas composition of CO, CO2, H2 in the produced gas. And here, the biochar produced is stored in this char tank. And when experiment finish and it cooled up, we will collect it out.
This video introduces lab scale and pilot.
Okay, this is the end of this video. So after watching this video, anybody can give us a summary. Why does the author use carbon dioxide as the gasification agent? What are the advantages of using carbon dioxide as the gasification agent in the gasification process? Anybody can give us a summary for this video? Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
I can
Chris
try.
is a new student joined us today. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Yes, thank you, Professor, for allowing me to be here. I am Chris from Ecuador. I am in the group of Professor Chan, and I am interested to taking part of the lectures. So, what I saw in the video is when we can have a more neutral pH, so that means potential uses for agriculture. And also the other reason that he explained in the video is reducing the greenhouse gases emissions and taking some advantage for the system. I think those are the most important reasons for using CO2.
Okay. Yes. But the using of carbon dioxide as a gasification agent, actually, the Chris is correct because it can help to create neutral pH of biochar. From the video, we can see that actually the original biochar from the gasification process using air as gasification, the pH is around 10. But after changing the gasification agent from air to carbon dioxide, the researcher found that the pH decrease. Why? What's the advantages of neutral pH by using carbon dioxide? What's the function? Because after we generate the biochar, actually we will use that in the environment. For example, if you want to use biochar as a soil amendment, it means that actually neutral pH is very important. If it is alkaline, sometimes it will damage the environment of the soil. So it is one of the very interesting finding in this process. Another one is that for the reduction of greenhouse gas emission, it is correct. Because in this process, you see, carbon dioxide is greenhouse gas. But this researcher using carbon dioxide as a source to operate gasification process. In this case, actually he can convert the carbon dioxide into the carbon monoxide and hydrogen. In this process, the carbon dioxide is used and create the new gases in terms of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. From this angle, actually, this process also have the function for the greenhouse gas emission. Anybody have any other ideas for the summary of this video? Okay, now let's learn this process in detail.
This
is the whole process for the gasification. In the traditional gasification process, usually we use air as a gasification agent. But in this process, actually the researcher use both of carbon dioxide and air as the co-agent. This is the traditional structure of the downdraft gasifiers. You can see that he added the feedstock from the top. It will go through the 4 different regions, including the drying region, hydrolysis region, combustion region, and the reduction region. In this process, the air will be injected from the combustion region, from this area. In this case, actually we can get the bottom ash as well as biochar from the bottom, and the gas will go through the cyclone to separate the particles and filter to purify the gas further. After that, it will go into the gas burner. This part actually it is connected with engine generator to generate electricity and heat. From this point, we can see that we have a gas analyzer. The function of a gas analyzer actually is to analyze the gas composition during the gasification process. It can analyze some major compositions in the producer gas in terms of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, methane, carbon dioxide, as well as others. But it could be used on site. For our research, sometimes in our lab, usually we use gas chromatography to analyze the gas composition. So this is the whole system for the gasifier, on-top gasifier. This is a lab scale setup. We can see that in the lab, actually, we can control the gas flow from different gas cylinders, including the carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and air. We have some controller from this part to control the gas flow rate for different gas. For example, if you want to mix around 15% of carbon dioxide in the air, you just need to control the gas flow rate from the individual cylinder. In this case, actually, you can create the optimum gas flow rate that you need. After that, it will go through fixed pipe areas. So we will heat the system over here. On the wall, there are 2 heaters to maintain the temperature in the gasification process. Usually for the gasification process, the temperature should be controlled in the range of 700 and 1000 degrees centigrade. At the end, actually, you can collect the samples for analysis. The researcher do the analysis for the biochar. You can see that he did the elemental analysis, including the carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. Also do some analysis about the moisture, fixed carbon, ash, and volatile. In this part, actually, do you remember what's the fixed carbon? What's the fixed carbon? Fixed carbon is a combustible carbon left after removing the moisture, ash, and volatile matters. So it is very important parameters in the biochar. So from this slide, actually, we can understand why the authors select carbon dioxide as a gasification agent. In this slide, actually, we can see a figure. The x-axis is the time. The y-axis is gas yield, and the lower heating value. To present the heating value of gas or solid, we have 2 important indicators. One is higher heating value. Another one is lower heating value. In this figure, we can see that when we use air as a gasification agent, we can see that the red line, this line is the carbon dioxide. Well, this line is the carbon monoxide. On the top, that is hydrogen. After inject 50% of carbon dioxide in the air, we found that actually the gas yield of carbon monoxide increased sharply. At the same time, the methane yield decreased sharply. What happens in the gasification process. We can use this reaction to explain why the concentration of carbon monoxide increase while the yield of methane decreased. Because in this process, actually the methane can react with carbon monoxide to produce carbon dioxide and produce carbon monoxide and hydrogen. That's why in this process, after we inject carbon dioxide, actually we can convert the carbon monoxide into the carbon to methane, convert methane into the carbon monoxide and hydrogen. In the practice, actually, carbon monoxide and hydrogen are two major products that we want to collect. So, if we can get the pure carbon monoxide and hydrogen in the practice, actually, it's a very great source for the generation of other chemicals. That's why the target of a gasification process is to improve the yield of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. On the other hand, actually, when we inject the carbon monoxide in this process, sometimes we can also add some water in the system in order to generate steam. Steam can also react with carbon to generate the carbon monoxide and hydrogen. This is the major finding in this process. It is a new knowledge. It is a new technology. Case 2, actually, we will talk about the particles produced during the gasification process. You know, the particles is one of the most important challenges for all the thermal conversion technologies. Not only just for gasification, when we talk about pyrolysis and incineration, actually particles is also one of the most important challenges that we need to handle. Usually, according to the different size of particles, actually it's in a range of 1 and 100 micrometers. But in the environment, sometimes, you know, when we talk about PM 2.5, most of you know it. But how about some other size of particles? How to remove all the particles generated from the gasification process is very important. Because when we operate the gasification process, you know, if the particles release into the environment, it will be harmful for the body health, especially for our respiratory deposition system. Now, another researchers from this project, he is doing the research on the testing of different particles in the gasification emissions. Okay, now let us watch this video to see how did he operate the gasification system and how did he analyze the particles in the gasification emissions.
Hello, I'm Dr. Yao Zhi from Wang Jiwa's research group. To investigate the environmental impact of the gasification process, we measure the particle emission from the gasification. Here we have two aerosol spectrometers. One is for indoor measurement, another is for outdoor measurement. As you can see from the control panel, this aerosol spectrometer can monitor the transient size-dependent particle number concentrations. And there are totally 31 size beams. We can measure the particle number concentration within the range from 0.25 micrometer to 32 micrometer. We also have another spectrometer for outdoor measurement that was placed outside the container. This is a cascade impactor. It is used to measure the size-dependent particle mass concentration. It has 5 stages. Particles with different size will be captured onto the different stages. Before and after the field measurement, the filters will be placed in the constant temperature and humidity chamber for 48 hours, followed by gravimetric analysis. After that, we will perform chemical analysis on these captured particles. In addition, we have conducted relevant inhalation exposure assessment. existing respiratory deposition models were applied to analyze the deposition distributions of particles in the human respiratory system, which could potentially serve as the basis for proposing protective measures against the particulate pollution from gasification technologies.
Okay, this is the end of this video. Actually, during the gasification process, aerosols is one of the most important pollutants in the environment. This one actually just introduced the aerosol generated from the gasification process. Actually, in our environment, aerosols is everywhere. For example, in our bin center, we throw our waste, including wet waste and dry waste over there. When the truck comes to collect the wet waste, actually a lot of aerosols around. In the wastewater treatment plant, there are a lot of biological conversion tanks to remove the COD, remove the nitrogen and the phosphorus. Also contains some other anaerobic reactors to handle the waste sludge. So in that area, actually the concentration of aerosols actually is in a high level. This method actually can be used to test different particle size. Some similar system actually can also be set up near the wastewater treatment plant or in some bin centers. Actually, they're commonly used to analyze the pollutants in the air. So if you have some requirements for the test of pollutants in the air, this is a very interesting method to use. Okay. In this video, actually, the student introduced he's from Wangqiu's group. Group 1, actually, he's a professor in the National University of Singapore. His major is gasification. He's also the associate editor in the Applied Energy journal. You know the Journal of Applied Energy? Yeah. He's the associate editor in the journal. So if you have some works you want to submit in that journal, actually, if it is related to the thermal conversion technology, maybe you will handle your papers. So it is a very interesting method to do the analysis for the particles from the gasification emissions. In this process, we can know that actually this figure shows the relationship between height and the concentration of particles. From this slide, we can see that during the initial period, actually the concentration of different types of particles actually changed significantly. It's not stable, but after the long-term operation, the concentration of particles tend to be consistent. It might be because of the initial period. Maybe the machine actually cannot operate stable. Once the machine operates stable, actually we can see the particle size, the concentration of different types of particles also tend to be consistent. Okay, so actually for the development of different technologies, actually there are some new things that we can think about. Even in the lab, if you have some new idea, actually you can also design your experiments and develop some new things. In this video, actually the author previously the author is a research fellow in the National University of Singapore. Currently, he moved to another research institute in Singapore that we call A-STAR. A-STAR is a research institute. That institute actually connects the research and the company. It means that their target is not only for the development of new technology, the target is to use the technology in the engineering applications. And he also talked about with some other companies to accelerate the use of new technology, the cell technology. Okay, he developed a new technology to combine the solar and gasification. You know, solar energy, you know, it is the source for all the energy. For example, we have the solar. After that, we can have all the biomass, all the labs on the Earth. So let us watch this video to see how did he use solar energy in the gasification process.
Mr. Lee, can you give a general introduction of this part? How do you do the renewable energy project in collaboration between SJTU and the NUS under the Create E2S2 program?
Yes.
It's a group building in the Miami campus.
Group of this building. There are solar PV and also
Some solar PV on the top.
panels to convert solar energy to thermal energy. And this energy temperature is up to 80 degrees C to produce hot water and also to transfer solar thermal energy to cooling energy for the buildings.
Yeah, so can you explain a bit about the functionality of the big machine you have over here?
This one is another concentrating solar thermal collectors. Using these many narrow phases, also concentrating solar radiation on the top of this tower. Then use the second reflector, concentrating the solar radiation on the ground to convert the solar radiation to the thermal energy. And
So-
this energy, this thermal energy has very high temperature, up to maybe 300 degrees C to get steam or also the electricity.
So basically what we propose to combine the solar thermal together with the biomass gasification, right?
Yeah.
So the biomass gasification is probably demonstrated over here in a gasifier.
Yeah.
So can you continue some general introduction? To my understanding, you just try to combine these two type of source of energy in the joint create E2S2 phase 2 project, right?
Yes.
Towards the energy harvesting. Yeah. So now can you give us a general demonstration of how to combine these two together?
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. From this video, we saw a building, room building, near in the Miami campus. Have you been there? This building? Have you been there? It is a green building near the School of Mechanical Engineering, and it is also a collaboration between Shanghai University and between Shanghai University and another university in the Italy. So from your opinion, how to understand green building? Yeah, it is a green building. It contains a lot of new technologies. One of our solar gasification technology is only a part of new technologies. From some other aspects, do you have any understanding? What's the green buildings? What technology can be used in the green buildings?
High, lower. That's the heat inside the building may not that easy to loss into the environment.
Okay.
Heat.
Okay. We need increased energy efficiency in the building.
Increase the energy use efficiency or decrease the heat transfer condition
Okay.
of the wall.
Okay.
is one of the parts for the green building, and there might be some more environmentally friendly construction materials. Construction materials, yes. So what's the option for the for this for example, you know that the concrete, concrete are like there is a lot of emissions while making concrete. Okay. And it might be some other materials that can replace that and decrease the carbon emission for the production side. For the from the production of materials. Another. Okay. Do you have another idea for green building?
There are two parts of the building design. One is called passive design, one is called active design. Passive design is about to is to get a lower energy and transfer coefficient of the building envelope. As compared the construction site, and because such as synthesis is used more low carbon footprint construction, and much we call low value is to the lower transfer efficient to low its heat, its cooling demand or heating demand, and use high air, lower air transfer things to also lower the heating demand and cooling demand. And other is about the active design. Active design is about such as the air conditioning system and other things. Those things can the high efficiency that system would also decrease the carbon emission and energy demand.
Great. Actually, for the green building, from this picture, actually we also see some solar panels on the top. Actually, they use the solar energy as an important renewable energy in this building. Sometimes, you know, the solar actually also have different types of solar, like PV, PVT. PV actually is only used to produce electricity. Some of them actually develop a new system for PVT to produce both of electricity and heat. Sometimes, you know, there are new findings in the nature of science. The researcher developed a new system called PVT. Also have the function for the recovery of, for the capture of water from the air. It is very interesting. You know, innovation is very interesting because in some areas, especially they are lacking of water. You know, water is very important. Sometimes in this system, actually, if you check the paper, it is published in the recent 3 years. The author, I can't remember the name, he developed a new system. No matter have this system not only has this function for the generation of electricity and heat, he can also capture the water from the air. In this system, actually, we can get the new source of water. Okay, now let's go back to this system. In this system, actually, the researcher use the solar collector to concentrate the solar and use that to heat the system of gasification. It's a very interesting idea. You know, for the traditional gasification process, usually we need to input the electricity energy to operate the system. Once the system is operated stably, the heat generated from the system actually can operate the gasification by itself. The new idea from this researcher is that he used the energy from the solar. In this case, actually, he don't need additional energy input, just to replace electricity to generate the gas. From this system, we can see that by using the solar energy, actually the biomass will be converted into the hydrogen and carbon monoxide. So we also call the syngas as solar syngas. So the idea is very interesting. Once we harvest the syngas, we can use that for the generation of hydrogen, chemicals, liquid, and other energies. So how to evaluate the solar gasification technology? Because it is very new. It is very new. How to evaluate this technology? Anybody can give us some new ideas from your side? What do you think? Is it good or not? What's the advantages of this technology? Or what are factors that we need to think about when we use this technology? When you develop a new technology, okay, you generate a paper. When you submit your paper, you know the reviewer will give you a lot of comments about your technology. Now you are the reviewers. Yeah, you are the reviewers. How to evaluate this technology? What's your opinion? Is it good or not? Is it a new thing or?
Maybe we can ask to the researcher what kind of biomass can be used. Does it need a pretreatment to go into the system, or can it use directly? So since they use water, so it could be like because gasification only use nitrogen, low levels of oxygen. So maybe if they change like the feedstock or the parameters like water, nitrogen, so we can have a better performance. But I think in general, the idea is quite new. And it could be interesting if it reach good temperatures and it can give the syngas product. So I think it could be interesting.
Yes, actually, your idea is very interesting. Actually, the temperature is very important.
Mm.
You know, if we use the electricity as an energy source to control the system, it's very easy to control. We can set the temperature by using the electricity. But for the use of a solar collector, you know, solar energy is not stable.
No.
Sometimes it's very strong. Sometimes it's not. So in this case, actually, the control of temperature is very important.
Mm.
So if I'm the reviewer, I will ask this question: How to control the temperature? So this is the first question actually from my mind. The control of temperature is very important because when we learn the principle of gasification process, temperature is very important. Different temperature will affect the gas composition. So sometimes a solar collector is commonly used in some other areas actually, but the temperature sometimes is very high if the solar energy is provided sufficiently. This is one question. Another one, actually, Chris' idea is very interesting. Actually, we should know the details about the design of this system. Because, we can see that in the biomass part, they also inject carbon dioxide and moisture. How to evaluate whether the effect of moisture and carbon dioxide on the solar gasification process? Actually, it is a graph. It is a graph. We don't know that. We don't know that. Why? Because this technology is very new. Solar energy is very new, and how to control the temperature, we don't know. And in this case, actually, if we want to inject the moisture and the carbon dioxide in the system, what happens? We don't know. So all this process actually is the graph. It's a graph. From this figure is provided by the researcher. From this figure, actually, I also get another knowledge. For example, from the solar syngas part, actually, the useful gas composition is hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Usually, in the practice, actually, we need to separate the carbon monoxide and hydrogen together with other gases. In this case, from this part, you can see that actually we can recover the moisture and the carbon dioxide. We can use that as a source in the biogas gasification process to create a cycle. If we can close the loop, for example, if we can close the loop, it would be a very great technology. So how to close the loop of this system? Is it possible? It is a question. It is a question, actually. Do you have any other questions about this technology? This is my question. Do you have any other questions? Commercial efficiency. Yes, actually, I agree with your opinion. I think the commercial efficiency is definitely very important because for the commercial efficiency, we collect the solar from the top using the solar collector. After that, if we inject the solar from the top, it means that actually the temperature on the top should be very high, is it? But from the traditional gasification process, when we talk about downdraft gasifiers from the top to the bottom, actually the temperature increased gradually from room temperature to 200 degrees centigrade to 600 degrees centigrade. But if this technology used in this process, I'm thinking how to control the temperature on the top. Does it change the principle of gasification? It may be possible, but we should talk about with researchers. How does he think about that? And commercial efficiency, of course, is very important. Even so, we collect all the energy from the solar. We convert the solar energy to the heat. When we use the heat, how about the commercial efficiency? Can we use that efficiently or not? It is also a question. Okay. let's have a short break. Ireland, you know that? The new campus in the Chongqing Island, now we are design the campus. If you have some new ideas on how to achieve carbon neutrality, actually you can provide it. It's a new campus. Actually, from the lab to the engineering application, it's not easy, it's very difficult. Because in the lab, we should have some new ideas in order to realize the new ideas and develop the technology and even develop the system. It needs a long time. In this process, actually, for the development of gasifiers, this lab also do some work for the scale up. Let us watch this video to see how did he scale up the system from the lab scale to the large scale.
This video introduces two different scale gasification systems conducted by E2S2C SA group. We'll show the specification and operation process of each gasifier. This is a downdraft fixed-bed gasifier used in our group. It is a continuous operation gasification system integrated with power generator. It is used for gasification or co-gasification research in our program. The feeding rate is 10 kilograms per hour, and its output power is 10 kilowatts. This is the operation process of this gasifier. With knowledge and research work from the lab-scale gasifier, we also collaborated with local industry partners on scaling up the gasification system. This schematic diagram shows the detailed components of the pilot-scale gasifier. This is the operation process of this gasifier.
This is the lifter. Transfer the waste on the hopper. It's a gas composition, automatic gas.
Thank you for watching this video.
From this video, we can see that actually in the lab, actually we set up the lab scale systems, and then we also operate some bigger reactor in the lab also. At the end, actually, this lab actually collaborated with the company to develop pellet scale systems. You can see the treatment capacity for the pellet scale system is around 1.3 tons per hour. But for this side, it's only pellet scale size. Because even so, currently the function of a university and a research institute is not just education, it's also to create new knowledge and new technologies. But university and a research institute also have some limitations for the scale up of a system. That's why sometimes if you want to use the technology in the practice, we have to use company. Only company have the ability to use the new technology in the market. That's why you see in Shanghai Jiaotong University or some other university, they have some department. They are keen to use the new technology in the market. So we call that department is maybe innovation department or some other names. But one of the function of this department is to develop some spin-off companies. So we call it university spin-off company. If you are interested about that, you can also check. Also check in Shanghai Jiaotong University. They have some support for the university spin-off company. They can provide you some monies for you to develop a new company if you have the new technology. 也就是说，其实很多就是交大里面有一些机构，它可以给你提供一些资金，让你去做这个初创公司。我不大清楚你们清不清楚这个东西 ？spin-off company. Actually, in some other universities, they have a lot of source. For example, in the National University of Singapore, they can provide you, a lot of money. You can pay salary for yourself. You can get some new staff to join in your company and develop your technology and use that in the market. But from the even so, anyway, the function of a university and research institute are to develop new knowledge and new technology. But how to use real technology in the practice isn't easy. This video gives us examples for the development from small-scale system to the pilot-scale system. Now, let us watch another video to see the large-scale system.